to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about somebody who's making an offer with this Page of Cups, but it feels a little bit disappointing. So this would be like somebody asking you out, but you don't know if it's like a group date thing or if it's just as friends, or there's ambiguity or a little bit of an elusive energy, right? You feel like you have to ask this person, like, are you actually interested in something like romantic, or what's going on? So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. I hope you're having a good day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. Most readings are returned within 24 hours of payment being received. Hello, Key Controller. How you doing? Hello, Famous Seamus. I also have memberships, so feel free to check out the description box below for more information on the 3 different tiers that I offer. I think we're going to start off with... It's like so awkward to reach it right now, but what I want is the meme cat. This is a major arcana deck. I'm not sure why I'm so drawn to this, but I feel like we have somebody who is a little mysterious on purpose, maybe playing some games, but you want to know for sure if your intuition is picking up on the right thing, or if you're being a little bit jaded or convinced everybody's awful, right? Seems to me, though, with the Ace of Cups in the reverse, that we're dealing with someone who might not really be serious about love or connecting in a real emotional way. But they're not going to give you a clear-cut answer. If you ask them, are you like, you know, if you catch feelings, are you interested in like a long-term relationship, or are you really, you know, not into that? This person could be super afraid of commitment, and they would not tell you that. With the Hanged Man, you would get conflicting or like runaround answers, or maybe how they would answer that question would change depending on the time of day that you ask them. Hello, Renee. How are you doing? And we've got the Empress. There's something about you, though, that is really tempting for this person. So in a way, I think they're very used to, or they have a little bit of a script where they say, I don't know. I mean, I would always be open to that. I don't think I'm looking for that, blah, 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 right? Like a little bit of talking in circles. But then they're kind of surprised at what they find when they get to know you. Does that change their intentions, though? That's the thing. You've got them up in their head trying to figure out what they should do, if anything, or if they should change their usual approach. Hello, Prem. How are you doing? Hello, James. What's going on? What else? Sun in the reverse. They're hiding something. They don't want to be clear and direct with you, even if they advertise themselves as being such. This is someone who will tell you things you want to hear, someone who will hide what's really going on, or, you know, like dress things up. Hello, DJ. How are you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. This is the Tarot of the Nile. What else do we have? Ace of Swords in the reverse. Queen of Wands in the reverse. See, the thing here is I do feel this is somebody who struggles to be honest. And I think it all kind of boils down to somewhere in their childhood, there was a pretty difficult rejection that happened, possibly with a family or friend, right? That has really stuck with this person. So there's feelings of inadequacy, or feelings of like, I'm afraid I'm always going to be rejected, right? I'll never be good enough. I don't know that this person has really identified it as such, but this is what gets in the way of their actually being able to pursue something with someone, because they feel like it will only ever open them up to rejection, or feeling the way they did in that childhood situation. Thank you, DJ. Hello, Night Fox. How are you doing? Knight of Wands, the Chariot in the reverse, and the Hermit in the reverse. So we have a person that keeps it moving, someone who feels like if they never really get too comfortable, if they never really settle in, if they never let anyone get too close to them, then they don't have to worry about whether or not that fear of rejection ever comes true. So this would be somebody who probably ghosts people, or somebody who maybe even starts arguments just because they feel like it's probably time to get some distance from someone, even though they might not actually be mad about whatever it is they're talking about. Hi, Steven. How are you doing? We've got the Star and the Hanged Man. This time in the reverse. Remember, we got that one from the meme cats. So the question here is, now that I'm a little bit dazzled by this new love interest, should I work on the things that I've been avoiding working on? This is the love interest that is maybe dealing with a little bit of a crush or trying to figure out how to approach you, and realizing that you might be, it's like you're too big a fish for their fishing rod. They don't feel like they could actually capture your attention. They don't feel like you would choose them, you know? Maybe you'd go on a couple of dates, but there's this fear of rejection. Like, as soon as you really get to know me, or if you get too close, then you wouldn't choose me. Knight of Cups in the reverse. Seven of Cups. That's too bad. There's going to be some attempt to like wear a bit of a mask or present something that isn't really them. It's giving like telling you a story that didn't really happen, or claiming something that wasn't really true. You know, I achieved this in college, or I did that at work, or I'm related to whomever, whatever it is. We've got somebody who's like trying to look as best they can in front of you, but that might be one of those red flags that you pick up on early on. So I don't know, are you the type to just tell someone right away, like, I don't like that, that sounds false to me, hold on, I have questions. Nine of Pentacles, Two of Swords, and Temperance in the reverse. Yeah, you are. So the thing is, there's, for both you and this person, a moment where you have a not so great judgment of them because they do something braggadocious, something where they want you to think highly of them, but it's probably not true, and you call them on it. You're like, but 1 and 1, that doesn't make 3. So what's the actual truth? Something here isn't right, or you know something that they didn't expect you to know, and it creates an awkward moment. Hello, Steven. Hello, JD. How are you? How's England? Hello, King the Eagle. Cosmic Whale. And we've got the 8 of Cups. Yeah, so I think you end up walking away, or you lose interest in this person because they're like pretending to be something that they're not. This is the Situations deck. What else do we have? Hello, Selena. Hello, Brody. Hello, Ashley. All right, what else? Magnetic, unexplainable pull, can't resist. Uh-oh. This person might be getting a little bit of karma it kind of feels to me like you see that somebody is not really, like they're just basically a flirt, right? They're not looking for that closeness or that companionship the way that you are because they fear it. And it's all because you have a conversation. There's something here in the way that they talk or something that they say. Maybe they don't realize it, but it kind of like reveals their true perception or, you know, what they might actually be looking for. This could be somebody who likes to manipulate people, or they give off like a codependent energy. So yeah, I think you're clocking this person as not serious, right? Like, yeah, anybody looking for like a situationship, they're set, you know, you got that one figured out. But a real relationship, no, that's not really their thing. Access granted, social media, fake profile, hiding, negotiator and soulmate. Here's the problem. You are actually a soulmate of this person's. And I'm saying it in that strange way because I don't want anybody to be thinking about it as this is the only person you can be with. I think we all have more than one soulmate. I think there are soulmates that you encounter in your lifetime that are platonic. I think we have maybe oversimplified things by trying to envision that we all just have like one soulmate out there. Realistically speaking, there are going to be several people in your life that make you feel seen and beloved. But this is somebody who is fumbling. They're flirty. They think you're attractive. They would love to have, you know, a no clothes day with you. But this is somebody who is seeing what they want and not realizing that there's more depth there than just flirtatious, passionate energy. And they're going to treat it like it's a dime a dozen and realize too late that this is somebody that could have actually been an incredible partner. But you chose to see what you wanted to see in that person, and then they realized what you were up to. So this is a person who has not really taken their healing seriously, realizing that if they had, they probably could have been a very happy person in a relationship with you. Wow, that's the card I was seeing. They could have been in this happy, unconditional love connection with you, but they treated it like it was not that important. So with this TikTok card, kind of makes me feel like they ran out of time. I mean, it says time's running out, but I feel like they already ran out of time. Like, they had things they needed to address or work on before they were going to meet you or before you came back around in their life, whatever it is. This is somebody who had that opportunity and they fumble it. Hello, Moo, how are you doing? Actually, I take it back because don't you dare come on here and tell me how I'm supposed to dress. There's plenty of other channels for you. Thank you, King the Eagle. I appreciate you. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's bots and all that fun stuff. Hey Peggy, how are you doing today? This is the Santa Muerte, by the way. We've got the Six of Pentacles. Is that what you are? Yes. I need like another candle or something. Six of Pentacles and the reverse. So this is somebody who encounters you, and I'm going to be a little bit harsh about it. I don't feel like this person is as special to you as you are to them. And what I mean by that is you have an influence on their life. They have less of one on you because there is this kind of gap in terms of your personal growth. You teach them a lesson by not tolerating the way that they treat you. But you've already learned a lot of the lessons that this person could potentially treat you or teach you. So I think this is more of like a capstone, more of like a confirmation, like, yeah, I did learn that lesson. I'm not really interested in spending time with somebody that doesn't value me for who I really am, instead of like putting me in a box with a lot of other people, right? This is someone who misreads your character, misjudges your energy. So yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is you're helping this person to wake up and realize that they can't assume everybody is, you know, that like dime a dozen type. Hello, Illuminati. How are you doing? So we have the Devil and the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. Just feels to me like you see very clearly, much more clearly than you used to, when people are still dealing with that toxic energy. If people are struggling to be authentic or handle those emotions, maybe even they're hiding from emotions, you understand. You've seen that before. I'm not like trying to say you're a judgy person. I'm saying I think you recognize signs much more quickly. I think you can understand motivation and intent much more. You're not as quick to anger, but you understand things much more quickly. It's like you're better at that proactive, protective energy. That looks like danger, so I'm not gonna go over there. That looks like trouble, so I'm not gonna deal with that. Hey Pharaoh, how are you doing? Strength in the reverse. Knight of Wands. You see that this is somebody who doesn't have that like lasting power, right? They move from person to person, or they have this tendency to avoid that closeness. I want to get to know you, but also it's scary, so I'm gonna run away. You're right. I hope you're having a good day. We've got the King of Wands in the reverse. And the Sun in the reverse. We already had that, didn't we? At the beginning, perhaps? Yeah, there it is. So there's an element of willful ignorance that I think you're basically holding up a mirror to this person and letting them see that by treating you the way that they did, they lost out on a good opportunity. This is what leads to them realizing I probably need to like think about some things, think about how I approach people, think about the assumptions that I make, let go of some anger or resentment from my past. So you are a catalyst for this person's spiritual awakening. Hello, Capsha. Hello, Matt. Hello, Vichitata. How's it going? So we've got the Two of Pentacles in the reverse and the Fool in the reverse. Nope, not interested. Thanks, but nope. You have this beautiful energy that is very healing. They're very drawn to it, and I feel like they mistook it as just being very physically attracted to you. They didn't realize that there was a deeper element to this connection until you pull away, right? But this is basically underscoring for them, you can't really have a meaningful relationship if you never let somebody get close to you. And you're only going to be wondering what you missed out on if every time you run away, right? I love it, Peggy. Thank you, Pharaoh. We've got the Six of Swords in the reverse. The Four of Cups in the reverse and the Six of Cups. Yeah, I think you're the trigger to their emotions coming back around. You're the catalyst to their realizing they need to think about why they approach things this way, why they can't get close to somebody or let somebody actually understand where they're coming from. Why do I push people away? For some of you, this is when they finally decide to see if there's a therapist that might be helpful for them. This is a really important moment, experience for them where they wake up, you know? I can't just ignore this anymore. I can't pretend that this is how everybody's living their life, right? You guys are cute. This is the Egyptian Tarot. What else do we have? Three of Cups, Ace of Cups in the reverse. We had an Ace of Cups at the very beginning that was in the reverse. Why do I feel like this is you showing common decency, respect, and concern from this person, even though they might have been disrespectful or, you know, not really shown much concern towards your feelings? There's something here that you do that's very kind. It could even be, you know, if somebody loses their temper and tells you, you know, this is why I don't date, or this is why I don't want to get to know you any better, you might respond with a loving, you know, sweet message as opposed to lobbing some insult back their way. There's something here about the way you interact with this person. It's just so different from everything else that they've experienced that it kind of like shakes them up, right? Like, oh, why am I ruining this? This is somebody who's actually like, they care about me, right? High Priestess in the reverse. Moon in the reverse. And the King of Wands. So even though we have somebody who felt like they could control heartbreak, avoid heartbreak if they didn't let anybody get close to them, you have shown them the error of their ways. You've helped them to realize that maybe that's not like the smartest way to operate with regards to love. They may have felt like they've been very successful, but you've basically invited them to look at things in a different way and realize what they've really done is wasted a beautiful opportunity to feel loved or have a healthy relationship. What else? Nine of Wands in the reverse, Eight of Swords in the reverse, and the Four of Swords. You open this person's mind up to, and maybe their heart, right? To the possibility that there are things they could do that are not that difficult, but to address what happened, right? To let go of that fear that everyone's going to reject me or no one could love me. Let go of that situation in their past that made them feel less than and focus on what they do have going for themselves, right? Love themselves in a more genuine way. So they might be a blip on your radar. You might not even like remember what their name is in 2 years, but you are setting this person on a different course because you held up a mirror and you said, is this what you're going for? This is what you wanted to do? But like, not as mean as that, right? I don't think anyways. Five of Wands in the reverse. So you've got them finally digging into that introspection, looking into their past, understanding why they approach things this way. Hello, Capsha. Hello, S. How you doing? What else? We've got the Knight of Pentacles in the reverse. Queen of Swords. And the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. I've got to be honest, this is my favorite card of all of them. I don't know if you can tell. I have a lot of cards. But I love this Queen of Swords because not only is this somebody who embodies boundaries, self-respect, intelligence, but what I love about this particular one is she's still like saying, sit down right next to me. Let's talk it out. We don't have to be angry. We might disagree on things. We might not be able to get what we wanted from the situation, but I can still be civil. I can still be respectful. I don't need to be a jerk about it, but I'm gonna try to do something to help you out here, because this obstacle or this problem that keeps coming up for you when you try to have something meaningful with someone or connect to somebody over a long period of time, it's because you're avoiding this work. It's because you haven't dealt with this thing from your past. So you help this person understand what the real block is for them. Hey Laura, how are you doing? Empress in the reverse and the Six of Wands in the reverse. So you are the reason they gain some clarity on their path. Okay, so maybe I had some issues with the type of love that was expressed or shown in my childhood home. Maybe I really had to beg for attention. Maybe I was only ever yelled at. Whoever you are, I send you a giant hug because we all deserve to be treated with love when we're little kids, right? Even when we're adults, we deserve that. But I feel like we're talking about somebody here who is struggling to express love or connect to people in that loving way because a parent of theirs didn't really do right by them, didn't really make them feel like they were a good person. There was always something they could have done or should have done differently or better, and that's why they avoid these close connections in their adult life. I feel like you help them unravel this mystery. You point out, this is something you can work on. We can, like, you know, address that. Some of you may even end up being friends with this person after you reject them romantically. Not what I recommend for everyone, but you know, they may need a good friend. Hello, James. How are you doing? Yes. This is the Crow Tarot. The Hierophant in the reverse. A lack of structure, perhaps some struggles as far as working overtime or struggling to make ends meet. So there was chaos and frustration that this person grew up around. Ace of Cups, Five of Cups. Their experience of love has been disappointment. It's like people want me to show up for them and I do what I can to be a good sibling or be a good child or be a good cousin or whatever it is. But I feel like I'm always left behind or I'm always rejected. This is what you're helping them uncover. They're realizing that they can update or reframe this perspective of theirs that makes it feel like love is never actually possible, right? Hello, Brendan. How are you doing? Hello, Santiago. What's going on? Thank you, Pharaoh. What else do we have? Thank you for liking my video, by the way. So we've got the Two of Pentacles and Justice. All right, so not everyone is probably of the opinion that we have multiple lives, but if you do subscribe to that, I'm gonna let you know right now that in a past life, you two were very close to each other. This might be somebody that you know for a grand total of 2 weeks in your lifetime, this lifetime. But I do feel like you were thick as thieves last life or the life before that. There's something here about your souls recognizing each other. So it's as if It's as if you find your old best friend in a new lifetime and they're acting up and you're like, man, you're not listening to anybody else, so I guess it's gotta be me. I'm gonna come over here and like backhand you into a little bit of like sense because you're messing up. That's what it's coming across as, even though this is somebody that is a love interest of yours. But you have this unique ability to get this person to listen. And I think it's because your approach is not like, hey, you're doing everything wrong. Here's what you need to do differently. It's because you have that softer touch, right? That ability to show love, even though you have some feedback. So we have this Four of Cups is like, yeah, you did it kind of wrong, but like, I'm going to make sure that it's not really a slap across the cheek, right? You're helping them understand what they could do differently. So Five of Wands, oh, I like that. Five of Wands in the reverse is like, oh, I think we had that earlier too, that introspective energy, right? Okay, maybe I've always been blaming everyone else. Maybe I've always made it seem like love just can't happen because, I've been dating the wrong people. But you help them realize maybe you can approach it differently. All right, this is the Fairy Lenormand. Hello, Karen. How you doing? What else? Number 12 and number 5, we've got the birds and the tree. Your words are impactful. It's the way you say it. Have you ever known somebody, like maybe you work with them, or maybe it's your brother or sister, but somebody who is not known for talking a lot, but when they speak, people listen. Maybe it's just like the tone of their voice. Maybe it's the fact that everything they say is dripping with wisdom. But there are these, I don't know, people I feel like we meet along the journey that have this wisdom to share. And you are that for this person. You have gone through some things that have helped you build this strength that they're envious of. They don't have this. But the way you speak to them, the way that you communicate, the way that you help them to see that there's an opportunity for them to work on themselves is a huge impact to their life. All right, let's get a few from the Energy Oracle. Hey, Darnell, how are you doing? What else? The Garden and the Gates. The world is a chaotic place, right? The world is a vampire. When you find a corner of the world, or when you find a routine that makes you feel like you're safe, or it makes you feel like you don't have to worry as much about watching your back, it can be difficult to leave that, right? This Garden and the Gate card is about somebody who feels safe in the confines of their yard, but they're terrified to leave that and go through the gate and see what else is out there. Yes, you might have it made where you are, or it may be safe by yourself. This person has taught because of their connection to you. They've learned that it's time to like actually venture out and get to know somebody, be a little bit vulnerable, take a risk, fall in love. But I think it's like because they lose you. Angel of Love and Contract. Yeah. I think you end up making a decision that this person isn't really ready for that, but the love that you show them or the way that you show up is something that inspires them. So some of you, like I said, you're going to end up being friends instead of dating. Others of you, you're just not going to know this person for very long. This is the Rider-Waite. What else? Knight of Cups. Seven of Cups in the reverse. Ace of Cups, Ace of Wands. Some of you might get invited to this person's wedding in the future. You help this person realize that they don't have to accept things the way that they've been. They can freshen up their perspective. So this clarity that you gift this person enables them to finally take the appropriate steps towards love. Next time they meet somebody that they really think there could be something special with, they're going to actually open up to that person. Ooh, is this Eight of Pentacles that slipped out? I didn't even see it. They're actually working on the things that they've been avoiding. Remember we had that Eight of Pentacles in the reverse earlier in the Egyptian tarot? This is like, you motivated me to like finally work on that stuff, to finally let go of the anger or the frustration, acknowledge that there's some pretty awesome things that I have to offer people and that I deserve to be loved. This Queen of Cups is your love shows them how to love themselves. What else? Hanged Man. The Tower. And the Page of Swords in the reverse. This indecisive energy that they have had since like the beginning of the reading, like, no, I don't know what I want this, but I'm gonna run away from it. You are like a storm tearing up their life. You're showing them that's not the way to do it. Now they're realizing they need that different approach, right? So I feel like when they go through this change, when they start approaching life and love in a different way, there are moments, things that you said, or moments in their life where they flash back to what you said, and it helps them. Something you say or the things that you said help them avoid things that used to be problems for them in the past. So they end up actually being able to fall in love, connect with somebody. I love it. Five of Cups in the reverse. Judgment in the reverse. You may never find out that this person's life was changed because of you. You may assume that things just kept on happening the way that, you know, you witnessed in your own situation. But I think for many of you, there's going to be a time where this person wants to let you know that they appreciate you, that you helped them to see things in a way that enabled them to actually be happy in their life. That's a big deal. Do you know how many good karma points you're getting for this? Oh my gosh. All right, let's see, what else do we want? We'll go with the What's the News deck. What else do we have? Aw, that's awesome. What else? Yep, not surprising. We've got the skirt card. Somebody who is quick to leave the scene, somebody who doesn't stick around for a long time. They get a little bit nervous if people get too close, right? Hello, E-Route. How are you? Numbing, self-medicating, addiction, irrational behavior, spiritually woke, self-awareness, cutting through illusions, detaching from ego. You are a catalyst for them to go from this to this. You inspire them. else? This is somebody who has been focusing on escapism, right? How can I forget the troubles? How can I ignore what I need to focus on? How can I entertain myself in a way that I don't have to have those more challenging thoughts, right? So I can avoid that introspection. We've got Bonnie and Clyde, ride or die, us against the world, dedicated partnership. The thing is, they have wanted to have this kind of connection, but they self-sabotage. So you're helping them to see that if they really want that, it's possible, but they have to get themselves out of this stuck situation, right? Where they always run away. So I think you actually inspire this person to do a little bit of research on their family history. This could be talking to the grandparents, talking to the parents, talking to the siblings. But this is somebody who actually deals with the more difficult memories they have, or the approach to love that may have kind of misguided them in their own life, so that they can correct that. Ooh, that's the card I was hoping to see. Graduation day. This person ends up leveling up and ascending with regards to their love life because you stopped by and inspired them. Well done. Good work. All right. This is the untold messages of the heart. Hello, John. How are you doing? What else do we have? Secrets. I hid something from you and I'm afraid to tell you about it. This is part of what limits their ability to get close to people. This could be a painful memory. This could be their inability to be loyal. But that sun in the reverse card at the beginning, this was a secret, right? Thank you, James. I sure appreciate you. They're still afraid to tell you about it. They may never tell you about it. But if you continue to be friends after this conversation, they may actually end up telling you about it. Factors. We're so different. I'm trying to figure out how this is even going to work. They made excuses to avoid being close to you. Oh no. All right, sorry, that one might actually be lost for now. Sadness. I feel like I've lost you and I'm not coping well with it. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. And then we have the unrequited card. So it's like they feel like they've lost you and that you don't really feel the same way, right? I'm not sure if we both feel the same way about each other. They have emotions for you, but you kind of view it as a non-starter, right? You care about them, want them to be happy, but you're not interested in them romantically. And I feel like their emotions for you only grow stronger after, you know, you kind of inspire them to look within a little bit. Hey, Carrie, how are you doing? Planning. I know that I want you in my future. I'm working on making the proper plans. Obligations. I want to get away from the burdens I have to deal with, but I'm stuck right now. So this is somebody who would make promises, would make plans, but then rarely actually followed through. I feel like you're helping them to see, mistake. That they need to approach things in a different way because they could actually find happiness. So they've made excuses. You're saying you can do both. You can also find a way to let somebody in, to connect with somebody in a different way, right? You're helping them to see things clearly. All right, this is the Love Tarot. We have my dreams. I've been dreaming about you. In my dreams, we are so free and in love. I wish I could stay there forever. I don't know that you, I mean, I feel like you don't fall in love with this person. I feel like they fall in love with you. I feel like you acknowledge that it's not really the connection for you, but they are putting you on a bit of a pedestal. You have shown them that unconditional love, taught them an important lesson, and they think about you, I think, a lot more often than you think about them. And that's a little bit tricky for them, especially because they had those feelings of inadequacy. But I think the introspection and the focusing on having that clarity has also helped them to appreciate the connection that they had with you for what it was. So we have, this isn't goodbye. I don't want to walk away, but it's what's best for me and us right now. This isn't goodbye. We will be together again soon. This is what I'm saying as far as like the past lives thing. If you do believe in that, I think this is somebody who believes that they will have a chance in the next life. You might even say that to them, but I feel like it's the person, yeah. So they're definitely a fan of ghosting people. They have done that several times. And in this situation, they learned from this ghosting and hopefully learned how to actually approach the next love that they encounter in a more mature way so that they can grow and be happy from that. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next